So we're here today for the second large virtual event in our annual calendar of workshops, webinars, PLCs, and other events to support the Massachusetts Innovation Career Pathways Community of Practice. This workshop is focused on designing high-quality innovation career pathways. So our work today is to provide you with some resources, content, as well as strategies based on the experiences of past cohorts that can help you in your work designing high-quality pathways. The workshop will be about 90 minutes in length. And before we get into the content, I do just want to provide some technical information to make sure that this workshop is accessible to everyone. So we are recording the workshop, and as you may know, we do that so that we can post the recording along with other resources on the MAICP website. We'll try to do that by the end of the week. So if you wish to access closed captioning during the workshop today, you can do that by following the instructions on this slide. And then moving into some introductions. I mentioned that this is one offering of many that's part of the partnership between DESE and the Center for Collaborative Education. CCE is a national education nonprofit, and we are very happy to be in partnership with DESE to support the community of practice for innovation career pathways. We'll talk at the end of today's event about some other upcoming offerings and resources that you can access as a member of this community. Some brief introductions. My name is Annie Leonard. I'm the Director of Community and School Programs at the Center for Collaborative Education and a longtime Massachusetts District Public School educator dating back to 1993. I've worked in counties across the state as a teacher, assistant principal, and principal, and am now in my third year supporting the Innovation Career Pathways project. I'm joined by my colleague Allison, who's CCE's Director of Operations. She is your person for any technical difficulties that you run into or any questions that come up during the workshop. Allison will try to help if you just send her a message in the chat. And then I want to pass to my DESE colleague, Jennifer Gwatkin, to introduce herself and other DESE folks in the room.
Well, good morning. It's great to see so many of you here bright and early. I'm Jennifer Gwatkin. I'm the Innovation Career Pathways lead for DESE. Oop, just realizing we should probably add career to my title there on the slide. And also I changed my hair, by the way, since that picture was taken. I've been involved with Innovation Career Pathways since their inception back in 2017, 2018. And I know that David Mora is here, who is one of our peer ambassadors, and he is part of Uxbridge High School, which was one of our inaugural members of the Innovation Career Pathways fold. So I hope that you find this workshop today enjoyable and full of information that you can use. It's applicable to your Part A process. I'm looking forward to working with you over the course of this year. So thank you. And I'm going to pass the mic over to my colleague, Latoya, who has the best glasses.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Latoya Tavernier. I am the Office of College Career and Technical Education liaison to the areas, to the districts that are covered by Mass Higher Central and North Central. So pretty much the entire Central Massachusetts. I work closely with Jennifer on Innovation Career Pathways, and welcome. And I hope you have a great time today. Pass it back.
Thank you, Latoya. So we have some terrific guest presenters joining us today, and you'll be able to meet them in a few minutes. We're also going to talk a little bit more about that role of CCTE liaison that Latoya holds and how both the Mass Higher region And the CCTE liaisons are resources and supports for your work on your pathways. But I do want to do just a quick review of the goals for today. Our focus is to provide information about strategies and resources that can support your pathways program design. We'll give you some opportunities to engage in breakout spaces in collaborative design and problem-solving conversations with peers. And as always, we want you to build connections across the Innovation Career Pathways network. So we're going to do that over the next 90 minutes by wrapping up our introductions shortly. We're going to go into a section of information about some of the ways to build strong foundations for your pathways. So whether you are coming from a school or district that is quite new to this work, or an existing designee who is considering adding a new pathway, this is an opportunity to think about some of the lessons learned from application cohorts in previous years. Then we'll transition into hearing from our guest presenters. And after that, and hopefully there will be also some time for some Q&A before we go into those breakout groups, where we will ask you to consider a dilemma that you're facing in terms of the design of your pathways. And we'll have a light protocol to share those design dilemmas and discuss strategies with peers. We'll come back together for closing, some reminders about upcoming events and available resources. But before we dive into the content, we always like to begin with a connections activity. And in this case in particular, we want to remember that the design work that we do, everything in the planning and preparing for pathways, we do for our students. So we're here because we want to change schools in ways that lead to good outcomes for our students. And so this short video is a way to ground our work by hearing from some actual pathway participants. They are students and educators from the Lawrence High School healthcare pathway. The Lawrence team shared this video with us, and though it's only about 90 seconds long, we think it offers a nice window into the impact that pathways can have. And so we invite you to watch the video, consider what resonates most with you that you hear from the students and the educators, and then maybe put a quick comment in the chat as the video finishes up.
Students who pay attention to detail, who are creative, who love science or health, there's a pathway for you.
If you are part of the Health and Social Assistance pathway, there are 5 core classes that you will take. We also are getting you guys ready for your career. One way that we're doing that is by giving you opportunities to receive certifications. When you come in this class, you're not just sitting down learning, you're going to be up in our lab doing experiments and using real-world equipment.
I'm Miss Hanson. I'm one of the teachers for this exciting pathway.
This is Miss Bayou. Don't worry about what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Pick a pathway that you're going to enjoy for the next 3 years at Lawrence High School.
Hi, my name is Ismaili, and in this class, we learned how to use micropipettes for gel electrophoresis.
Hi, my name is Kelsey, and something I liked about this class is when we dissected a cow eye and a sheep brain, and at the end of the year, we'll dissect a heart.
Hi, my name is Derek. We use the hammer to measure our reflex time, so we're going to demonstrate it now.
If you learn and do a great job in this pathway, maybe you'll even get to save this guy.
So again, feel free to put a comment in the chat. I love that there's a little bit of teacher humor wrapping up that video. coming to us from Lawrence High School. But I think it also really gives you some nice insight into the ways that Pathways help students have more authentic and meaningful learning. So I'll invite my co-presenters to take a look at the chat as folks are commenting on what resonates for them. And if you want to make any comments of your own about it, please feel free to unmute and do that. Sorry about that.
So great, we're gonna watch it twice. Folks are commenting about, seeing students being engaged, having fun. It's a comment about taking the pressure off, figuring out what students want to do for their careers and focusing on what they will enjoy for 3 years in high school. Sol has asked if we can get the link to the video, so Letha, yes, of course. I think it's in the resources, or isn't it on the MEICP.org?
That video is in the resource guide. So this is a good moment for me to ask Allison to put the link to that resource guide in the chat again. I did send it out in the advance email late yesterday afternoon. And that resource guide contains all the links that we know we're going to share during the workshop today. So we want to take the pressure off and reduce stress by giving you that resource guide. So that you don't have to worry about capturing and saving every link that gets shared during the workshop. So they are in the resource guide for you. And then if we get any new links during the workshop, as often happens, right? People in this community of practice are very generous with their resources. So if there's something new that we need to add to the workshop, to the resource guide for this workshop, we'll do that and it will update automatically for you. So now we want to talk about some of the foundational elements of innovation career pathways. So many of you we know from your registration form are planning on going through the application cycle this year, getting ready to submit a Part A application. And of course, that application and the Part B application are very much grounded in these 5 guiding principles. So it's always a good idea to utilize the guiding principles as a lens for analysis and a lens for checking on your progress in Pathways design. And we'll talk a little bit later about a tool that is available to help you with that. Additionally, we have synthesized some of the lessons learned from previous years into this list of 5 areas for your consideration when you are in the design and planning stages for your pathways. So they include forming an inclusive team for innovation career pathways in your school and district. And I want to bundle that together with the second bullet point, seeking supportive partners in your local community and region. So an inclusive team in your school and district is important because certainly this is work that cannot be shouldered by one person on their own, no matter their role, right? Whether you are a building leader, a district leader, a Pathways program or internship program or school to career coordinator, you need the partnership of and the perspectives of many people, including students, including classroom teachers, and including supportive partners in your community in order to design engaging and sustainable pathways. So all of those roles plus more. For example, the support and partnership from someone in the business office or grants office in the school district is important to support the funding and budgetary processes for innovation career pathways. guidance counselors who are part of providing the enhanced supports for students in innovation career pathways, and post-secondary college and career counseling for your students, as well as addressing the master scheduling and student scheduling questions that may come up around designing pathways. All of these are super important when you think about your internal team. And then beyond the walls of the school, successful pathways depend on having effective partners, including those from your local Mass Hire Board. So I'm now going to pass back to Latoya and Jen briefly and bring up this map, which shows our statewide Mass Hire regions and CCTE liaisons, and ask Latoya and Jen to talk a little bit about how those folks can support your pathways design.
Sure. So I guess I will preface by saying that this is sort of a new move by DESE this year in terms of the way that we support our districts with innovation career pathways, or those aspiring to have innovation career pathways. We have a regional model. So each region that's named on the screen here, Mass Hire Region, has a CCTE liaison. And Latoya being one, would you mind speaking to what that means?
Sorry, I always get caught up right before I have to speak. So pretty much you can come to us for any assistance on program design, about implementation of your programs, grant assistance. The way that our new process is going is that, oh, thanks, Steve. I can see that. The way the new process is that any grants that you put in to DESE, including the Innovation Career Pathways Support Grant and the Planning Grant, is first receives a desk review by your liaison. And so we will be very intimately aware of your needs, the things that you are applying for, and will be there to provide assistance. And so if you are looking to ask any questions that you're not sure if you can get it to Jennifer, we are also a resource for you. So just look up, I think the information will be put in the resource guide, and usually Allison puts it in the chat. You can look up who your liaison is by your Mass Hire Board. So.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Latoya. And yes, it is already in the chat. And do we happen to have any other CCT liaisons in the room?
Let me scan the participant list. I don't believe so.
I don't
want
think
to
so.
misspeak. Not
Okay.
today, but that you will see them on subsequent events, and they will be reaching out to you at some point if you are in the process currently.
And you will be meeting some Mass Hire folks a little bit later in the program. So just returning to these foundational elements, the past participants have also emphasized how important it is to build on existing assets at your school. So I think sometimes in the application process, it might feel overwhelming to look at the various requirements and areas of design that you need to work on. But often schools have existing assets, whether those are courses that are already part of your offerings that relate to the industry sector that you're considering applying for, or there may be partnerships that you already have with higher education institutions that can be supportive of your pathway design. So building on those assets is a way of building a strong foundation for your pathways. Finally, a lesson learned is that the incorporation of work-based learning, applied hands-on learning in your pathway is something to think about, not just as a culmination of the pathway, not just at the internship or capstone that culminates the pathway, but really built in throughout the pathway. And I think we're going to hear more about that, some specific examples of how to do that when we hear from our panelists. But when we talk about building your team, we also want you to know that your team extends beyond your school or district, and even beyond your local and regional partners. As part of the Massachusetts Innovation Career Pathways Community of Practice, you are part of this network, and one amazing resource in the network is the Peer Ambassador Program. So we have a new cohort of peer ambassadors. Those of you who have been part of this initiative for a while may notice that there are 8 amazing peer ambassadors on this slide this year. We're happy to have increased the number from 5 to 8. And that is going to enable us this year to offer more professional learning communities, one for each industry sector, including the last year's pilot, our newest sector, clean energy. And so you will meet some of these peer ambassadors today, and if you sign up for a PLC or at lots of our future events, they will be presenters and co-facilitators with us. Their profiles are available on our website, and we really encourage you to check out the profiles, find out what their role is, what their school is like, what their designated pathways are, because they are a tremendous resource for you as you develop your pathways. But to give you a more detailed community and school context in terms of pathway design and launch, we have guest presenters representing 2 Western Massachusetts schools today, Frontier Regional and Athol Royalston. And so first we are going to hear from Christine Wu, who is a peer ambassador and also the community outreach coordinator at Frontier Regional School. And her MassHire partner, Matt Allen, who is the School to Career and Connecting Activities coordinator, who works with Franklin County Schools at MassHire. So I'm going to pass it over to Matt and Christine, and then I'll jump back in to introduce our second school folks. Christine, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Christine Wu, and I'm going to chat with you a little bit about our relationship with MassHire and some of the great programs and resources that Matt Allen has connected me to through MassHire. I think what I'll do, Matt, is go one bullet section at a time, and then you can elaborate. Workforce readiness workshops, as you know, as part of the Innovation Pathways program, we have to provide some job readiness education. I've pulled Matt in to teach workshops on job seeking skills, resume writing, and interview skills as part of some of the courses in Innovation Pathways. He comes in and he actually teaches the workshops. He does this on a regular basis. He's wonderful with the kids. I hope that the Mass rep in your area, MassHire rep is as good as Matt. The kids love Matt. Part of it might be that he brings candy, but he is a great presenter. So do you want to elaborate a little bit on the workforce readiness workshops, Matt?
Sure. Thank you, Christine. So Matt Allen here. So yes, it's been a great partnership, like working with Christine and Frontier. And in terms of like the workforce readiness workshops, again, it's like utilizing the Signal Success curriculum that that's already been like utilized like the Youth Works and other programs to the state, and like bring it into the schools. It's a great way to like get the students get them to start thinking about some of the soft skills that might be needed to go out there and get an internship or a job. And like those students they're very engaged, and it was great classroom.
Thanks, Matt. Another resource that they have to offer, and I don't know, Matt, if this varies by region, but at least the Franklin Hampshire County region has funds to support field trips. And this is huge for a lot of schools. We do have some money built into our budget, but we tend to run out toward the end of the year. And so they can cover the buses to field trips and entrance fees if it's a museum or whatever that requires a fee. Do you want to chat about that?
Yes. So like funny enough, Kristen, like just yesterday I got a phone call from somebody from Frontier and they're like, it's like we need transportation like to for field trip to UMass Amherst. Like, do you know any buses company? And like, and how much do we have to pay for this? And I was like, no, actually the workforce board, like we can cover these. And they're like, wait, what? Like, they're very taken aback, very surprised, like to hear like there's actually an organization that can help pay for those things. So yes, it's like again, like I keep telling that like, all of our school partners, we do have funding for that. Some schools know about it and then they reach out to us more, and we wish other schools would do more of that. But yes.
And I can't emphasize enough. I was heavy on the field trips our first year because I really wanted kids to get excited about the fields they were in. And I wanted them to see what they're learning in the classroom in theory plays out in the real world, and to develop relationships with businesses. It is really vital to have the businesses see our kids and hear their questions, and have the kids see these businesses and, oh, this is why I'm learning about leverage and weight and materials and things like that in our manufacturing and engineering program particularly. So it's a great way to forge those relationships with businesses and show the kids why they're learning what they're learning. And thanks to Matt that we have these funds to be able to get out and do these.
And
Third
sorry,
one.
Chris.
Oh, sure. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Chris. Yeah, sorry, Chris. And I was gonna add a little bit more, is like in terms of transportation. Like we also try to offer a few regional events. So like one of them, like in the spring, like we've started like offering like an event called Construction and Trades Day. It's like where we host that at our at the Franklin County Fairgrounds in Greenfield. And it's basically like, we get a lot of businesses, organizations in the industry, and then getting students from all of our schools like in the region to like go and participate in the event. And then, like one of the biggest barriers would be, of course, transportation. So being able to like, let the schools know we have this event. All you need to do is get your students on the bus. The cost is already taken care of. So that's been really huge. And it's been very successful. So like so last year, like I know like we partnered us also like with the Berkshire Workforce Board. So we're able to get like over 150 cents from the Berkshires to our fairgrounds in Greenfield, and also like over 150 cents from our Franklin, Hampshire, and of Quad Bend to go to the construction day. So yes.
So
And
I'll
if you think about construction event, it's not just the guys with the hammers and nails. There's civil engineers, planners, things like that. So it really does float very well into the manufacturing and engineering track here.
And I just want to reiterate, Christine, your point about making the phone call or sending the email to ask, because there is some variation among the different MassHire boards in terms of what funding is available. But reaching out to ask about that is the way to find out. And I think certainly in the case of the Franklin Hampshire board, and as you just mentioned, collaborating with Berkshire and in the Berkshire region, lots of great things have come from regional collaboration, giving more students access to events, solving some problems related to transportation, and that kind of regional cooperation, rather than as the initiative grows, seeing it as competition for scarce resources. That collaborative spirit is super important.
Yes, definitely. So another thing that we are going to be accessing very soon, in fact, I got to get on the horn and purchase this. Again, I like we're stressing, you got to check with your MassHire to see what monies they have. But we are going to be tapping MassHire to help us pay for certifications. You may know that an industry recognized certification is part of the Innovation Pathways program. Kids need to be coming out with a certification. We're going to get our OSHA 10 general industry certification through MassHire. There's an organization called CareerSafe that they work with, and they will pay for the kids' certifications. And just so you know, through CareerSafe, they do have the OSHA 10 general industry certification, but they also offer ones. Everybody comes out with the OSHA 10 general industry, but they do offer one that's more for healthcare, more for manufacturing and engineering. I believe there's 10, one for law enforcement. So depending on your track, the kids can take the ones that have more information provided about that industry. They all walk out with OSHA 10 general, but it is catered to the kids that they're speaking to. So do contact your MassHire department and find out if they have monies for covering the OSHA 10 or any other certifications. And just so you know, you can see here, I've said it can be self-paced and it's online. So teachers could implement that into the curriculum. They can call it up at the time they have class. The kids can spend an hour on it. Each unit takes a little under an hour, about 15 classes to complete it. And it's a lifelong certification. So it's a really great one for the kids to have. Did you want to elaborate on that, Matt?
I think you covered it all, Kristen. So again, it's like for those credentials, like it's nice, like like that they're applicable to like a variety of industry, like you mentioned. So yes, again, it's like one of those. It's like if more schools know about it, there is resources like to pay for those. It's like a matter of like reaching out to us at the workforce boards.
Excellent. Another thing that we use MassHire for is to support career events. I run a large career fair here every year, and we have MassHire not only come themselves to talk about meeting with them about developing your career and using their resources to find jobs, but also they help us find employers to come to our career event. So if I'm saying, you know what, I really want somebody in hotel restaurant management, who do you know? Matt will say, call so-and-so. And so they're great with that. They can help us. I mean, they have the pulse. That is their job, is to have the pulse on the employers in the community. So tap your MassHire as much as you can. And lastly, we use them for connecting with local employers in general. In Franklin County, we have something called the Manufacturers Roundtable. And other counties might have this, other areas. This is a group of manufacturers that get together to discuss everything from employment issues to supply and demand issues. And you can be part of that community and get to know the employers if you offer, say, a manufacturing and engineering track. But check with your MassHire to see what other organizations have been formed in your area that might be able to support your track. Obviously, like I said before, they know who's hiring, who would consider taking interns. Matt is a school to work or youth to work. I forget how you say it.
Yes, so school to career.
School to career.
So yes, like so for school to career, and then like and so for instance, I know like so working with Kristen right now, like so I know like she's planning on a career fair for Frontier. But at the same time, it's like with the career fair, with career fairs, sometimes like like there's some youth interested in finding jobs, right? It's not just like connections, but at the same time, it's like are they hiring directly? And I know Kristen reached out asking like do you know like what are like local employers like who are hiring youth? So for that, it's like it's like reaching out to my colleague. And, like right now, I'm working on putting together a spreadsheet for her with all that information. It's like what are the employers in the area who are hiring youth? What age they have to be? Because again, it's like yes, the minimum age is 14 in Massachusetts, but unfortunately, most of them like they do have to be at least 16 for certain jobs, and then 18 for most of them. So
exactly. So when we have our career fair, it is a career fair versus a job fair. So it's for the kids to ask questions to the employers about the careers in their industry. But we do want to have a sign. We hire high school students at those tables that do. And I see Dave commenting in the section here that also the Chamber of Commerce. Absolutely. We use both. Right now, I am recruiting speakers for classes. One is a business and marketing class that kids can take in one of our tracks. And he wants a speaker on supply and demand. So who is the best person in the area to speak on supply and demand? I've turned to the Chamber of Commerce to help me fill these topics, employee management, you know, so between MassHire and your chamber, you're going to have a lot of great connections in your community. And if your school is not a member of your Chamber of Commerce, I recommend, if you have the funding, it's typically just a couple $100s a year to join. Let's see. Some schools that have Innovation Pathways programs form advisory boards. It's something I'm trying to get going here. We don't do it yet, but I'm hoping to. And it's a great way to tap into what the community really needs. You know, what do these employers want these kids coming out knowing? I'm kind of surveying them right now, and we're going to try to add blueprint reading to one of the manufacturing and engineering classes because I'm hearing it over and over and over. The other thing I hear over and over and over is they want kids to be able to read a ruler. So I'm going back to the elementary school about that one. No, just kidding. But I was shocked to learn that that was one of the top things. Can they read a ruler? I'm like, okay, you're going to be good with our kids. So yeah, you know, advisory boards can tell you, they have the pulse on where this industry is going, whether it's healthcare or manufacturing, and kind of keep your curriculum fresh and current and really supporting the jobs that they're going to be hiring for. So I will now pass it over unless someone has questions.
Sure, we could pause here for a moment if there's a question for Christine and Matt that somebody wants to put into the chat. You could do that while folks are thinking about a question they might want to ask Christine or Matt. Again, I just want to reiterate that you're really addressing some fundamental concepts like this idea of a continuum of career awareness, career exposure that builds over multiple years. And I'm imagining that some of the things that you're talking about begin quite early in the high school career in order to give students time to develop their own ideas and plans. And also I'm really hearing you speak about the development of durable skills across time, right? So how are students, what kinds of earlier work-based learning exposures or experiences let students develop the curiosity, develop the confidence, practice the communication skills that they need in order to ultimately be successful in an internship or capstone setting at the end of the pathway. I'm not seeing any new questions in the chat now. So I think we will move forward. And I want to introduce the next guest presenter, who is also joining us from MassHire Franklin, Hampshire. Laura Robinson is School to Career Coordinator working with North Quabbin schools, and her school-based partner, Tasha Sheffield, who is also a peer ambassador, was not able to get coverage today. So she's in a physics class leading an egg drop activity. And we do understand that people do this work alongside a variety of other roles, and that sometimes means it's not possible to make it to an event like this live. So Laura, we know that you're coming in from a different event today. We're so happy to have you here and look forward to hearing a little bit about your work in partnership with the Pathways at Athol High School.
Thanks, Annie. And I may reiterate a lot of what Matt said because we are teammates and we in the office work collaboratively with our other partner, Aaron Croft, to cover the whole region, which is one of the biggest regions with over 23 schools that we work with. So, so it is a big collaboration for us to try to make sure things can happen for the schools that work with us. So one of the things that I do at the school is I have office hours each week at as many schools as I can. I'm trying to get into more of my schools on a weekly basis, or at least bi-weekly. And so that allows me to then meet with staff and teachers more frequently to work on ICP and come up with ideas. So we in-house do a very much a team approach. We look at field trips that we feel would benefit the students and work through the immersion of the process. And yep, we do provide funds to help support that if they don't have that available to them. I help set up all the career panels and workshops within the school day that do apply to the MyCap and career seminars and things like that. And trying to make sure I'm not repeating what was already said. And yeah, we're really working towards getting those IRCs to help students when they get beyond high school so that they have those on the application. One of the big things I've been pushing in my schools is that students start building, thanks Jen for putting in that, I should have said that, getting students to have a resume from the get-go, like starting with freshman year. My son went to a tech school, so I know what the kids are coming out from the tech schools with and trying to get that implemented into the regular school day at the other schools as well, because it is beneficial for all students to leave high school with a resume that they can then work with beyond. And also reminding them that to save that resume in multiple places, because I just had another student go, oh, I got locked out of my email. How do I access my resume now? And luckily, he was part of a YouthWorks program, so one of us had it on staff so we could give it back to him. But just, working collaboratively is a huge piece for our staff to get these career pathways up and running. Hence why I'm also at the healthcare forum down in Springfield right now, in a hallway away from everybody so they can't hear me talk. And I know Josh wanted to come, but yes, like I try to go to as many things that my schools are not able to attend because you can't be out of the classroom all the time. So if there's something and they're like, oh, I really want to go to this, but I just can't. I'm like, well, it'll fit in my schedule. So I'll go to it and try and make some connections. So then that's how we've made quite a few collaborations for our schools by doing those things. So that is the little extra that I can add on to what Matt and Christine already said.
Laura, thank you so much for coming in from the hallway at your other event. And I think in addition to the way that the teamwork you're describing supports, busy schedules and really people trying, like a bunch of people pulling together in the same direction on these pathways, I think there's also a piece in terms of the longer term sustainability of pathways where staff transitions, whether those happen at the Mass Hire Board or in the school system, or even with changes of employer partners. So having people like yourself providing continuity at Mass Hire, I can imagine that's been incredibly helpful to Tasha, who is not just new to Apple High School, but new to Massachusetts. So coming in as a person from Texas to the Massachusetts system is a big change. And so having multiple members of a team who are contributing to the pathways really can be something that helps programs survive the inevitable changes that can occur in school leadership or school staffing or Mass Hire staffing.
Mm-hmm. It definitely has. Sorry.
So Dave is interested in hearing about the event that you're at. If you want to. And I think that, things like Manufacturers Roundtable and the event that you're holding, some of them are regional, but but we want folks across the state to know that they should be on the lookout for these kind of events. So do you want to say a little bit about the event you're at today?
Yeah, so today's event isn't with manufacturing. It is the healthcare forum that's being sponsored by the Hampden Workforce Board. So just getting to know some colleges and contact people that we can talk to in down at this end, because our region is so vast that having connections even across the border in a different workforce board helps just be able to make internship opportunities and educational opportunities for schools within our region. So that's what. So that's been great. We've been kind of listening to a few speakers from the different colleges and career paths, like OT, what's OT about, and things like that. So that has been great, and making other connections is awesome, or reconnecting with people that you may have known 25 years ago and just spotted, like I did today, someone from high school. We saw each other today and we're like, hey, I know you. And now I have another connection for Western New England in healthcare, which is going to be helpful as my schools expands their career pathways or look for more partners in their existing career pathways. So that's where I'm at right now. Manufacturing Roundtable is something I'm going to be working and taking over a little bit with my colleagues because of changeover that we've had within the workforce board, and that's a great group of manufacturers from our region that get together to talk and go through things that they need, like what is up and coming for their need, right? And basically it's getting some young blood into the system, because the average age of most of their employees is 45 plus. They have a huge retirement age coming up. And even though some of that staff stays on to work part-time to kind of, because they supplement their income that way, they don't have the ability to push product like they used to, because they just don't have the knowledge and the ability in their work staff to do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So Laura, thank you it's like you're a live reporter for us today. And that's awesome. And as I listen to you, I'm thinking about how the kind of networking that you're doing, and that, somebody who's in an internship coordinator or pathways coordinator role in a school could really benefit from that kind of networking. But I think there's another angle on these industry specific events that's worth mentioning, because of course there's a huge learning curve for folks who are school based and may have spent their entire professional careers working in schools. It's a huge learning curve to become familiar with an industry sector. And so events like these are also a real opportunity for teachers who are trying to get oriented to an industry sector and to the career landscape in that sector, being able to take a PD day to go and experience something like this is also a real important learning opportunity, and that can help build buy-in among teachers whose support for pathways is really critical to their success. So we see you're on the move. Thank you for joining us, Laura. And thank you again, Matt and Christine. And again, to folks in the audience, if questions come up for the panelists and you want to pop them in the chat as we move forward, we encourage you to do that. But we're getting close to the time where we want to offer the audience a chance to go to breakout rooms and have some conversations there. So as I said at the opening of the session, we frame these breakout conversations around design dilemmas deliberately. That word dilemma may sound like you're running into a problem, but actually we believe that by framing dilemmas, surfacing the things that are puzzling or troubling you in your design and planning process, that's a strength. And so when we go into collaborative conversations in this network, we've adopted a set of community agreements to help guide the conversations. These come from the work of Glenn Singleton on Courageous Conversations, and I will post them here so that you can consider them and just consider how you can act on these community agreements when you are part of a breakout group. So for example, staying engaged can look like turning your video on, keeping your video on, being unmuted so that you can listen actively and give and receive constructive suggestions. None of us have all of the answers or know all of the specific circumstances in any setting, but that kind of constructive exchange of ideas and feedback is really what makes these breakouts a very strong element of today's workshop. So our format is a pretty light one. We want to encourage you in these breakout groups to do a couple of rounds. So one round of introductions. There will be about 6 people in each room, so they're pretty small. Say your name, what you like to be called, your role, the school that you're affiliated with, and any currently designated pathways and/or pathways that you are planning. That's round 1. Round 2 is describing a challenge, a pathways related design dilemma that you are facing. What are you wondering about? What are you thinking you could use some assistance thinking through today? The third round is where you have an opportunity to discuss possible resources, strategies, things that could be helpful to address the dilemmas that have been shared in your group. Certainly at that point, you may go to more open conversation, and then we'll just be sending out reminders so that you can keep track of the time in the breakout rooms. It'll be a little bit under 20 minutes there. And right before the end, you'll see a message inviting you to come back prepared to share any takeaways. It's super important to leave this workshop with ideas about how you can apply what you're hearing today in your own setting. So be thinking about takeaways and any lingering questions that you have from the breakout. I see a question in the chat now about ICP and MyCap, and that is something we will talk about before the end of today's workshop. So hold on through the breakout room. Certainly ask that question in your breakout room. It's a great design dilemma to bring up, and you'll hear more about it from us when we come back from the breakouts in about 15 plus minutes. So Allison, when you are ready, you can send folks out. You may see a visitor, one of the MAICP team or today's peer ambassadors may show up as a visitor in your breakout room. Welcome back, and I hope that all of the breakout rooms had as robust conversation as I heard in the 2 rooms that I visited. When I dropped into the second of those 2 rooms, there were really thoughtful questions being discussed and emails being exchanged. And that's a really good sign because we're early in the school year, early in the process. And this is a great time to really be trying to open up big questions and then find your people. So as we get ready to debrief a little bit and close out today's event, I want to invite you to put into the chat anything from your breakout conversation that you want to be sure. This could be like a note to yourself, something that you're taking away and that you know you want to look into further, or that you know you want to apply in your own design work. Put that in the chat. Or if there's a lingering question, and we may be able to start to address some of those questions today, but also the questions that you put into the chat are really helpful. There are a number of people here who are co-facilitators of professional learning communities. So when those get going soon, questions shared today can guide the industry sector and other PLCs in making sure that the PLCs and the other events that we offer are really focused on the questions that matter to you. So feel free to go ahead and put your thoughts into the chat. And while you're doing that, I'm going to provide a little bit of information about some resources that may be particularly helpful to you given where we are in the process right now. So the slide that you're looking at right now is a screenshot from the front page of the newly relaunched Innovation Career Pathways website. And this is a big improvement from our former little Google site. And we hope that you will take advantage of it to assist you in your Pathways work, in finding some of the resources that are on the site, as well as using it as a platform to get connected and stay connected in our community of practice. So I mentioned the exchange of emails, but of course, one of the things that you can do on this website is join our portal. So in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link for that. When you sign up for an account for a profile in the portal on this website, you gain access to part of the website that is kind of members only. And once you sign up and get approved, you can create in your profile some information that will help others know where you are, and what pathways you are designated in or working on. And then you can post questions or resources on a chat forum. So, so we really encourage everybody to set up an account in the portal. We think that that's a great place to have dialogue. There's some really cool conversations already up and running there that you want to check out. So please sign up for a portal account. Some of the other resources on this website include frequently updated, frequently asked questions, or FAQ. One of the things that was mentioned earlier was the acronym IRC, and you can find an acronym translator. That's one of the sections of our FAQ, because we know there are a lot of acronyms used in schools, and then a lot of other acronyms used in workforce development and college and career readiness language. So feel free to consult that FAQ first. Lots of common questions, especially for folks who are early in the process, are answered in that FAQ. And we do update it frequently. So if there's a question you would like to see addressed there that you don't find, let us know and we will add something to that. Other things that are relevant in the website include the prospective applicants page. That'll bring you to a page that is where some of the most relevant resources are curated just for you. But this resource library includes things like, I know folks have been talking about the Signal Success curriculum today, about even the video that was shared from the Lawrence Public Schools. So outreach materials, promotional materials that schools have generously shared. All of those things are in the resource library, and you can browse all or use a keyword search to find things that will help you develop your own pathway plans and programs. Specifically, I want to mention a resource that's in that library that is called the Preliminary Designation Criteria Tool. It's a long title, but it is a tracking tool that can help you make sure that the indicators that are part of the Part A application, the preliminary designation criteria, are being attended to. So of course, I think those of you who are planning a Part A application are all aware that the Word document of the Part A application is available on the DESE site. So I'm guessing that Allison has probably already shared in the chat that criteria planning link. And then she's also going to add to the chat in a second a link to the DESE page. And that's where you'll find official DESE documents. And when available, the link to the CHAMP platform will also appear there for submission of your Part A applications. So back to community of practice events and resources for a moment. I mentioned the virtual office hours. Those are upcoming, and we hope that you will go to our website and sign up for those to help address any questions that you have in advance of submitting a Part A application on October 24th. We also have exciting news that we have just recently secured a date and a location to hold an in-person network convening. And that's going to happen at Leicester High School on the 19th of November. That information will be coming soon via email to the listserv, and will also appear on the website. And we'll be encouraging you to register a team of 3 or 4 people who are best positioned to work collaboratively on how you integrate your MyCap and innovation career pathways work in your school or school district. We held a convening on this topic in May of 2023, and it was a huge success because we had some terrific schools who shared their work and then paired up schools to do case consultancies and give each other feedback on their MyCap and innovation career pathway integration. So watch out for that, and also watch for information on the PLCs that is coming soon. So to my co-presenters, if there's anything you're seeing in the chat that you would like to comment on, now would be a great time to do that.
Thanks, Annie. I know that we are at 10:29. I wanted to share, and this came up in my breakout, burning question for those of you who are applying this year: when are we going to get the link to CHAMP, the portal that we're using or supposed to use to submit Part A? Long story short, still working on that. My group heard about the odyssey that it has been. We are working on a workaround. It will likely be Alchemer, which for those of you who had submitted in the past, we have used. It'll have the opportunity for you to enter your email address and save and come back to it, so you don't have to complete the submission in one sitting. So thank you for your continued patience on this. I really hope that I can get that out to you this week. I've actually got it set up in Alchemer, just waiting for the okay to send it out. Thank you. Thank you. It's all going to be okay. If we need to extend the deadline for any technical reasons, amenable to that. Yeah. Everybody take a collective deep breath. It's going to be okay.
Right.
Reminder for me to breathe too.
Thank you for that update, Jennifer. I know there is some stress around this, and we will get there. And as we've just crossed to 10:30, I want to be sure to point out the link to our feedback survey that Allison just put into the chat. We do these event surveys because we really rely on your feedback to plan the events and support resources for the network. So please take the time to complete this survey. The surveys are anonymous, but after you complete the survey, you will be asked if you want to submit your email and get entered in a raffle. The raffle runs all year, so the more events you attend and the more surveys you complete, the more chances you have to win a prize, to win at the end of the school year when we do the raffle drawing. I will send out a follow-up email tomorrow that will have this link in it again, as well as a link to the resource guide, which we're already updating, adding a few of the additional resources that have been shared today. And out of respect for everyone's time, we want to close out the formal part of the workshop. Wish you a good rest of your day, and we hope to see you at another Innovation Career Pathways event soon. Thank you so much for coming.